These are the two lenses that I think that you need in your life, period. You guys know much about lenses because you do your reviews. So we're not gonna really go over too many of the specs. What I will do, however, I will go over why you need these two lenses.
Future proofing.
You are now future proofing your kits. Day to day, whether you do wedding portraits, 2.8 aperture, 2.8 aperture, all the way through. In my opinion, I think that these Sonys, they will always be viable. You'll never, ever have to get rid of these. And I'm gonna tell you exactly why. The prices are ridiculous, right? The trick to it is, for lenses, if you can go in any store, anywhere, Amazon, B&H, Adorama, all these stores that sell lenses, if you are capable of finding one used, you should buy it, okay? Because guess what? This one and this one is used. Yes, I did not purchase it brand new. I bought it used. And if you really want to look at the quality, here you go. I'll show you guys the quick quality. There is no scratches. The thing looks brand new. These are all used, okay? All right, go to the 70 to 200, used. I put this little mount there, this double mount for my tripod, which isn't another video, but I'll show you guys that soon, okay? Look, nothing on it, guys. And I'm explaining that to you because a lot of people want to get new lenses. I bought this for $1,800. This is a Mark II, okay? 24 to 70, this covers a lot of the focal ranges that people are looking into. And I bought this for $2,200, and this is usually $2,900. So $2,200, this is usually $2,600, $2,500. I'll post it right now, but $2,500-ish. And I got this for $1,800. So there you go. So I save $400, save $800 on these two lenses. They work like a charm. Now I'm gonna show you guys some footage with these lenses put together. Sony did just come out with a 28 to 70 2.0 aperture lens, okay? And that lens is a beast. For aperture purposes, it is a better lens. These have 11 blades on these lenses. So does the 28 to 70, which is great for being able to keep it sharp, being able to autofocus, being able to manual focus, to being able to just function in a proper manner. However, if you buy that one, you're buying it brand new. You're not gonna find it used. And it's way bigger. Now, the reason why these two lenses are always gonna be viable, and honestly, these are the only two you really need. Now, if you guys are the macro kind where you want fixed lenses with lower aperture, I get that. I understand that. I have one in my kit and this one right now. It is a 16 millimeter. So I understand that if you want that type of lens where you want to fix and you can deal with this. So this video is not for those people. This video is for the people that want versatility, want to be able to shoot everything in one. It's a bit of an investment. And I'm not saying money's not an object here, money's not an issue. But again, find these used. Your camera is a different story. If you want to buy a camera, do not buy a camera used from just anywhere. Like I would never go to eBay for camera items, even lenses. I don't know. I'm not an eBay guy, and no offense to eBay, but I would definitely stick with the certified stores that can search, that can check it. I think that those stores are made for camera gear, and you should definitely get your camera gear from there. Reason why I think that this is future proof, because whenever you upgrade, I don't think that Sony is gonna upgrade to a Mark III. What can you possibly put more into this lens aside from the aperture change? And if that's the case, guess what? When you sell this lens to get an upgrade for the new aperture 2.0 24 to 70 lens, that kit that comes this small, this size, they've somehow managed to make it that way, because you know, usually when you lower your aperture, the lens gets fatter. The lens gets bigger. It doesn't stay as skinny as you see it right now. It's gonna be wider, essentially. So you'll probably have an 86 millimeter circumference right here, you know what I mean? So at the end of the day, do you really want to carry that? And that's what the 28 to 70 is. That 28 70, if it was 24 to 70, would it be a viable option? I think it would destroy the Mark II. This is something that you invest in for $2,500. That Sony's 28 to 70 is only $300 more. I think they went pretty much for Canon to try to get into that market of the 2.0 aperture with a 28 to 70. So that's where they can justify coming out with the lens. Now, I do think Sony is gonna come out with a Mark III, but Until then, you have a future-proof lens in the Mach 2. Now, you have other varieties. I'm gonna talk about those in a second and why I think that the Tamron 35 to 150 alongside with the Sigma, the newer Sigma, which I did have. The Sigma 28 to 105 and the Tamron 35 to 150 versus there's no Sony camera that does that right now. So you gotta pick your poison. And I'm gonna tell you exactly why those lenses are good for the people that are, one, trying to save money, obviously. You obviously don't wanna buy $4,000 plus worth of lenses. So that's one. Two, you wanna have the all-you-can-do lenses.
Sony's unique compatibility.
Sony products are made for Sony products. I don't think I have to repeat that. I'm gonna repeat it just in case you guys didn't hear me. Sony products are made for Sony products. So if you have a specific camera from Sony that does 30 frames per second, you will miss out on the performance of these lenses because you have a Sigma lens, which can only do 15. Now, they are rolling out updates on some of these lenses, on Sigma especially. I haven't seen too many Tamron updates. Let's say you have an A9 III. For those that do have that, you have A9 III. These two can shoot the A9 III at 120 frames per second. In video for the A9 III, you can do it with any lens. But if you're not only a videographer and you're a photographer, they are certified shooters at 120 frames for just stills. So if you want that type of variety, this is what you have the compatibility from Sony for. You use their lenses. Now, I'm only saying that to say this. I jumped around with a lot of lenses and I dismissed so many because as I used them, I felt like, damn, this is not good enough. This is not good enough. I feel like I'm missing something. I had the Sigma 28 to 105, which then kind of overrode the 70 to 200 because 105, right? I can go to 100 on this one. But carrying both those lenses, first of all, the 28 to 105 is like maybe this tall. It's a little bit smaller than this one, and it's probably the same weight. It's maybe 100 grams lighter. And then I'll put the specs in the, I may be wrong, but I'll put the specs in the video right now so you guys can see. But from my perspective, when I was using it on my daughter's gymnastics, it did a great job zooming on the APS-C camera. I thought to myself, how is this gonna look on a full frame camera that I'm about to get here on Monday? This is gonna actually be 24 focal length. So the little zoom that I'm getting, I'm not gonna get that anymore. So I'd rather cover the range from 24 to 70, and then from 70 to 200. I also bought a converter, teleconverter. It turns this into a 140 to a 400. It doubles it. However, the aperture does go down. The aperture now becomes a 4 to a 5.6. So I think it's a 5.6, it might be 6, but it's a 4 to a 5.6 aperture instead of the 2.8. So that's one thing that you have to understand and remember when you buy these type of lenses and buy these converters, it does change a lot. If you're zooming in that far, you're not looking for the aperture to be 2.0 at this point. You don't want that. You want more of a landscape shot, more of a, if you're shooting wildlife, you want that, right? Teleconverters, it is definitely worth the bang for buck. Instead of going out and buying a whole new lens that you have to now carry with you, instead of you carry a small pouch. It's actually, the teleconverter is like this big, if not smaller. And it's in a pouch so you can carry it, put it in your camera bag, and you'll be fine. I would definitely do that versus buying another lens. So the lens would probably sit like right here, a little bit higher than usual, but it'll be worth the bang for your buck. So my last point, for those that are looking out for a lens that is worth every single penny, future-proof, not competing against each other. So like Sigma mixed with Sony, but I think you could get away with the Sigma version of this. It's pretty much the same, I think. But again, when you have those higher quality cameras that you are pushing out a lot more work in, the A9 IIIs, the A12s, the A1, the A7R5s, those type of higher quality full frame cameras, you wanna pair it up with a Sony product. And this is my biased opinion because you're gonna get clear image stabilization, no focus breathing. The focus breathing is non-existent. You have so many things in these two lenses. They complement each other so well. And a lot of lenses do not complement each other as well as Sony, these two Sony lenses do. Honestly, I went through the battle with both of these and oh my God, even one day with it made me want to go out more and shoot with it. It does not have OSS, but I feel like the Mach 3 will have OSS in this.
Wishful thinking.
And I think that would be a great investment in Sony, which would justify it coming out and put it at 2.0, obviously aperture, optical steady shot, make it better than the 28 that's competing with Canon, and lower that price, right? This could be $3,000 at a Mach 3, and I get that. I would understand that if you added OSS, you added one more custom button, you added 2.0 aperture, maybe put it to a 24 to 80, 85 would be nice. But again, it would still complement this Mach 2 here. So them coming out with two different version 2s of their camera is because they noticed that they made a mistake with the first one. Adding things to the second one justifies these mistakes and actually makes it better. However, for Sony consumers that are trying to sell and I guess recycle their gear, yeah, you're taking a loss.
Conclusion.
Compatibility with your Sony cameras. Understand that you have the best of the best. That is one of the biggest things here, is you know that you have the best possible option. If you screw these shots up with these two, it's you. Anybody that's looking for lenses, go with Sony if you're rocking a Sony camera. As far as lenses goes, I think Sony definitely is in a class of its own. This is not an ad, obviously. Sony did not pay me. I just realized that the lens that I did have, I had all Sigmas. So I had a Sigma 18-50 contemporary lens. This was an APS-C lens. I knew that I was gonna go to full frame cameras one day. I didn't know when. So I was gonna get the FX3. I decided to get the FX30 to compromise. Do not compromise for anything when it comes to quality that you want. If you can afford it and you're not trying to cheap it out, you can go with any of these lenses, you can go with any of these products, and you wanna get a Sony camera, and let's say you wanna pair it up with a good lens. Do not cheap out just because the Sigma is $1,000 less than this one. It does sound like a crazy amount, which is great. You know, I understand that, but you're gonna get the same quality, I think, personally. But the performance, this will beat it all the time because it's what? Sony.